Steps of the MEB phase, the medical evaluation board phase. In the last series of videos, we've talked about the regulations and we've gone over some forms. This is where we kind of bring it all together. So let's just jump right into this. What I really want to do is to make sure you understand the process. So this way you know what to expect. And then we're going to give you some tips on how to navigate through that process as well. So how did we get here? You were injured or you suffer from an illness, and the physician decided to do a series of evaluations and to give you profiles to put you on light duty to let your body recover. But up to a certain point, up to like 12 months, that the physician makes a decision whether or not if you're getting better. And if you are, great, we'll send you back to the unit. If not, we have a conversation such as, hey, what do you want to do with your military career with this injury or illness that you have? So therefore, they turn those profiles over into a permanent profile. They sign the profile. There's an approval authority that also signs that profile, and then you are now forwarded over to the Integrated Disability Evaluation System, aka the medical board. The first phase within that medical board is the MEB, the Medical Evaluation Board phase. Hopefully, while you were in the MRDP recovery phase, I'm hopeful that you were building your medical evidence, meaning that you were going to the doctor, being seen for your conditions, all of your conditions, everything that ails you, and it's fully documented. This way, you can communicate your story to your commander. So I'm hopeful that you were going to the doctors, you were communicating your conditions to to your commander. I'm also hopeful that you reviewed some of the regulations. That's why we presented them here to you, and that you are gathering and organizing your medical records for this phase. So you're now in the MEB, and here we go. There's an orientation that generally will happen. It will be fast, it may be short. They give you a lot of information. They talk about the process and some things that you should know, but it is like drinking from a fire hose really quick. And the impact of this is that there is a lot of information coming at one time that may have an impact on you and your family at the end of this process. So now you've gone through the orientation and now you're going to meet with your PEBLO, the Physical Evaluation Board Liaison Officer. He or she is going to help you understand what to expect, and also notify your unit commander of you being enrolled into the disability evaluation system. And then they're going to initiate the MEB PEB counseling form checklist 5893. But take a look at the regulations because this is where it lays it out for you. And AR 635-40, it will show you what you should expect. This is the form now that we talked about in previous modules. We're bringing it all together. So this is the Soldiers Medical Evaluation Board and Physical Evaluation Board checklist. Again, this is where they're going to just say, we have had a discussion about the steps of the MEB. We have talked to you about the process of a rebuttal or an impartial medical review. I being the PEBLO will sign here, you being the service member will sign next to that box that I've done my job. So this is basically what that will look like. Then you'll meet with your MSC liaison. The MSC liaison is the VA representative who's going to handle all of your VA claims. They're going to explain the VA disability process. They're going to submit the form, the VA form 210819. They're going to set up all your examinations. Check out the adjudicator's manual that we talked about in the regulations module for the VA, M21-1. It really lays out what you should expect from the MSC liaison officer, as well as the type of documentation that they look for when they are evaluating your conditions. This is the form that you will fill out for your VA disabilities. Now, all that's done, here comes the nitty gritty. The nitty gritty is you have to start preparing for the exam. By the way, I will say that this kind of happens fast. This process where you meet the PEBLO, you meet the MSC officer, and then, hey, within the week or so, at least for me, I saw my CMP examiner. You need to be able to prepare for that exam. How do you prepare for that exam? Through looking at the DBQs for your conditions. I would first start off with the referred condition, looking for the disability benefits questionnaire for that. So if it's, say, for example, if it's PTSD, take a look at the PTSD disability benefits questionnaire. And then for any other conditions that you would like to get added, take a look at the DBQs for that. And then any other claimed conditions for the VA, take a look at the ones that you think would be beneficial. The purpose of looking at the DBQs, the disability benefits questionnaire, is so that you can prepare and rehearse the questions. They're going to ask you certain questions. I want you to be able to just rehearse your story and prepare and write it down and take it with you to the exam. And we'll talk a little more about that. But rehearse. So now you're at the meeting with the examiner. What should you bring? There's going to be a lot of folks that tell you, oh, you don't need to bring anything. I'm telling you what works best for me. I brought all of my medical records organized to the exam simply because there were some things that the MSC officer did not submit over to them. So I always bring my I Love Me medical book. And then there is a prep quad chart. The prep quad chart is basically the story on one sheet. The story on one sheet. And I bring that with me. Now, how do I communicate the situations to the examiner? As a nurse, we use what we call SBAR, Situation Background Assessment Recommendation. I know that may be a little bit too much. However, here's how you could probably walk through it. Basically, just you understand the situation already. You are there to be examined. They're going to ask you for the background. What happened? Prepare that part of the story. The assessment is, well, this is what the doctor's assessment was. He believed that my knee was bad. And so therefore their recommendation was to send me to a specialist to get my knee looked at. So now the doctor understands your situation, some background, relative information. Now I'm going to show you how a doctor thinks. A doctor thinks of in terms of a SOAP note. In other words, subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. So, what is the subjective information? The subjective information is, what are you telling me? What are you telling me about the story? That's why your story is so important. The objective information is, let me do the exam to validate that story. What objective evidence do I have here? Do I have an x ray? Do I have an MRI? Let me look at that information objectively to match up the story with the evidence, the objective evidence. Then they think about the assessment. So from the CMP examiner's perspective, they want to know what was their assessment? What did the doctor say? Now that they've took the subjective information and the objective information, I wonder what that doctor said and what plan did they have for you. So take all of this information, and if you have to repeat this part of the section, please do. But take all that information in mind and develop your story. Okay. So now you've gone through the CMP exam, the next phase is the board convenes. It gets a little quiet. I liken the MEB phase to be the hurry up and wait phase. The hurry up is the beginning. Now you're in this lull where you're waiting for the board to convene and to figure out, should they forward you over to the physical evaluation board, or are you fit, right? Based upon the exam and things that they saw. Here, I just wanted to show you that in the MEB is composed of 2 or more physician members. And I got this from the regulation. Uh, and one of those MEB members will prepare the NARSM of the soldier's medical conditions. A senior medical officer will serve as the MEB approving authority and will have detailed knowledge of regulations pertaining to the standards of medical fitness and disability separation processing. That's the key piece there that I want you to know. Like, where's NARSM coming from and what are they going to do with this board? So this is the narrative summary, and I pulled this from the IDES MEB Integrated Narrative Summary Guidebook. It's kind of old, but I thought it's relevant because it just shows you the components of the narrative summary. Of note, take a look at number 5, MRDP statement. There's a statement that they're going to write that says that you met the medical retention determination point. There's other information about the baseline of your condition, and the diagnosis and prognosis for your condition. This is setting up the legal side of it. This is setting up, hey, this is what we found in a record. We're just documenting everything. That's why you have a lawyer that's involved in this process. So you will get that summary, and you will also get the completed disability benefits questionnaire for the referred condition. For the referred condition. So you're going to get a stack of papers. This is not the time to just pencil whip and just sign. This is the time where you sit down, you get with your battle buddy, you get with someone you trust, and go through this, go through the NARSM, go through the disability questionnaire, and make sure it matches your story. Okay. So in 635-40, it talks about all of the aspects of the NARSM. So another way that you can just get a view of what it's going to look like, take a look at 635-40. So now you got all that paper, you've reviewed it, you've taken a look at it. Now it's up to you. This is the money shot, because the NARSM is the heart of the medical board, hands down, period, end. So your options are, do you agree with what's on the NARSM and the DBQ, or do you not agree? If you agree and they believe that you should be sent over to the PEB, you will sign the medical board proceedings. Remember, in the forms module, we talked about that. You will sign that, and they will forward you over to the PEB. If you do not agree with the narrative summary, your lawyer will advise and assist you with creating a documentation for requesting an impartial medical review and or a rebuttal. Key point here, please meet with your lawyer. I see online a lot of folks are like, I didn't talk to my lawyer about it. No, please meet with your lawyer to go over these documents, because they'll give you certain scenarios and things that you should think about. What is your role? Your role is to understand the regulation. Understand the regulation so this way you can help your lawyer help you. The other piece of it is have the evidence, the medical records and the buddy statements. This is also the time, if you want to get things added and you believe that certain conditions should be added, This is where you stand your ground and at least get it documented. What is an impartial medical review? According to AR 635-40, the purpose of the IMR is to inform the soldier whether, in the IMR reviewer's opinion, the MEB findings adequately reflect the complete spectrum of the soldier's injuries and illnesses. Generally, a soldier may request one IMR. If the PEB returns a soldier's case for further VA and MEB evaluation of a new medical condition as provided in paragraph 4-10C, the soldier will have an opportunity to request another IMR. However, it will be limited in scope to addressing the MEB findings for the PEB returned condition. Talk to your lawyers, but I'm just showing you this information. Here's the other piece. Let's look at letter C. The impartial medical reviewer will examine the medical evidence as presented in the NARSIM and all other MEB information to include the completed VA examinations and all records the soldier intends to submit for inclusion within the MEB. Within 5 days of being appointed to conduct the IMR, the impartial medical reviewer will prepare their findings and inform the soldier of whether the MEB findings adequately reflect the complete spectrum of the soldier's injuries and illness. They will sign the DA Form 3947 and forward their findings to the PEBLO and Council of Record, if any. Where the IMR findings indicate that the MEB does not adequately reflect the complete spectrum of the soldier's injuries and illness, listen up. The MEB approval authority will appoint an appropriately credentialed provider who may be a member of the MEB to consider the IMR findings. Barring unusual circumstances, when the soldier requests an IMR and submits an MEB rebuttal, the same individual will consider both the IMR findings and the MEB rebuttal. Got it. Within 7 days of receiving the IMR findings, the MEB approval authority will uphold the original NARSIM or return the NARSIM to the NARSIM preparer for reconsideration. Pros and cons of an IMR. IMR, and I pulled this from information paper MCGA OSC 13. There's a link there, is not classified information. Again, talk to your PEBLO, talk to your lawyers, but I'm just presenting this information for you here. And IMRs are different from MEB rebuttals, and there are situations in which a rebuttal is more appropriate than an IMR. For example, if a requested IMR ultimately endorses an MEB as appropriately capturing all the medical conditions, your chances for a successful MEB rebuttal may be greatly diminished. Whereas if you have specific evidence supporting that a MEB may not have appropriately captured your medical condition, then a MEB rebuttal may be more appropriate than an IMR. The soldier's lawyer, SME, BC, can best explain your options based upon the circumstances of your individual case. Take a look at this document and just talk to your lawyer to make sure you understand before you get into this situation. What is a rebuttal? Again, according to AR 635-40, a soldier, provided the soldier has not requested an IMR, the soldier may submit a written MEB rebuttal to the PEBLO within 7 days after signing the DA Form 3947. Upon request by the soldier or their representative, the MEB approval authority will extend their time period for good cause if shown. Now, what happens if you did request an IMR? When the soldier has requested an IMR, The soldier may submit a written MEB rebuttal to the PEBLO within 7 days after the soldier and the PEBLO receive the IMR findings, indicating the MEB adequately reflects the complete spectrum of the soldier's injuries and illnesses, or within 7 days of the soldier being informed by the PEBLO of the convening authority's response to the IMR review. A lot of words here. Talk to your PEBLO, talk to your lawyer, but I just want you to I'm just putting a seed in there so it can marinate. So this way you can know what to talk to them about. Upon request by the soldier or their representative, the MEB approval authority will extend the time period when good cause is shown. In general, the soldier may submit only one written MEB rebuttal. The soldier may submit an additional MEB rebuttal when the MEB revises its prior findings with respect to adding or removing diagnoses and or revising prior MEB findings with respect to whether one or more conditions is cause for MEB referral, one or more. Any additional MEB rebuttals will be limited to issues relating to MEB revisions. So I just want to present that meat for you. This way you can understand the process in advance. Now, if you are doing a rebuttal, my tip for you is how could you help your lawyer? A lawyer thinks in a very chronological way. Give me all the facts, put them in a chronological way. Like, give me the date that it happened, right? And tell me exactly that result or the situation that happened on that day. So, for example, you can write the chronology of an event. I was injured on January 5th. I was playing basketball while downrange and hurt my knee. On January the 7th, I saw the physician. The physician said this. The physician ordered an x ray. On January 11th, I had an MRI, right? Like you got to put those stories together. And this is great if you want to get things added to your board. So I know we reviewed a lot of information, and this is a very long or a longer module. But again, the medical evaluation board is the heart of the entire experience. It's the heart. So understanding all of the regulations, or having some knowledge of it, helps you and puts you in a better position to help the lawyers, your ombudsman, your PEBLO help you. This is a very crazy period of time because there's two organizations, the VA and the DOD, coming together at one phase, which makes us all confused because it's confusing. I get it. But I want you to be successful. I want you to be successful. So enough of my gibberish. We'll talk in the next module. See you then.